God has given me gifts and he's given me talents and he gives them to everybody. And because he's giving these gifts to us, we have to not be afraid of sharing our story and using our voice. We cannot be afraid to do that. And a lot of times we end up getting so fearful of what other people think, and we start getting so caught up in our own head that we don't show all of what he has put inside of us. And I'm done with that. I told myself that this is the year that I am going to release everything that I have inside of me. I am going to let it out. And this is what this channel stands for. Being honest, raw, and real about what I feel like is my shortcomings, the areas where I feel like, dang, I wish that was different. Or dang, you know what? I feel like I gave up on that. Baby, we're not doing that no more. If there's something that we gave up on that we still feel like is in our hearts, we're going to press into it. And that leads me to why I'm here right now. So if you haven't read the title, which I'm sure you have, and I don't even know why I said that because I didn't even come up with the title yet, y'all. This is how I know I be on that with y'all. I be on that with me too. I haven't even made the title, but I am going to be talking about ding 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 ding, my first feature film that I am writing. Y'all, I'm writing a movie. I'm writing a movie. Yo, do 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 do. Yes, I have whole soundtracks in my head. I do all the time. But I am writing a movie. I'm writing a movie. It feels so surreal just saying that. It's so exciting too because I have always wanted to write screenplays. I have always wanted to be a director. I've always wanted to make movies. And it is literally taking me, and I'm not going to tell you my age, but maybe I will because I really don't care. But it has literally taken me 31 years to get the confidence enough to say, I can write this film. Especially because I be watching some of that stuff on Tubi and I be like, child, come on now. If y'all could do it and make it this far, honey, so can I. Okay, and we need more Black women directors. We need more popular women directors. And honey, that's me. So that is really why I'm making this video. So let's get into that. Yeah, so where do I begin? So I am from Chicago. If you can't tell, well, maybe you can't tell because I don't think my accent is that deep, but y'all let me know in the comments. So I'm from the south side of Chicago and born and raised, and I have always loved art. You know, when I was a child, I always knew that I wanted to be in the entertainment industry. I always knew I wanted to be an actor. I always knew that I wanted to be creating a world where I was seeing more of me and seeing more movies with me in it. I remember when I was like 12 years old, y'all, I was in the 6th grade. And you know, when sometimes your dreams are kind of murky, like I mean, not your dreams, but you know, when you have like an experience or a memory more so, and it happened such a long time ago, but it feels like it's a dream. Okay, so I know that it happened, but it also feels like a dream at the same time. So I was sitting in class and I was thinking about acting. Mind you guys, I had never acted in my life. I only had the desire in my heart to act. I know y'all know what that's like. You know you've never done something. You know you never experienced this thing. You don't even know why it's on your heart to do. But you just know that if you pursued it, you know you would be fire at it. Like you know that you would succeed at the highest of heights. That's how I've always felt about acting, and that's how I've always felt about writing, because I used to do it so easily as a child. I used to make so many people laugh with my writing since I was a little girl. I used to stand in front of my classroom and I would write fictional stories and essays. And I remember the first time I ever did it, I wrote one and I read it in front of the class, and the whole class was laughing, like they was busting and dying laughing, y'all. And I knew in that moment, like, I had something. Your girl had something. Your girl had something going for herself. Okay. So that is really where the spark began for me. And when I was in the 6th grade, I was sitting in class, and I don't know how I did this, but I either had a phone or I had like a newspaper or something. And I remember I seen these auditions. I was looking at like a list of auditions, and in the description, they said who they were looking for, like the type of person that they was looking for, and on every single description it said white, 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 white. Now mind you, I had never acted before, and I didn't know anything about the world, but I knew when I saw that, I knew in that very moment, I said to myself, this is what I'm supposed to do, that I have to create opportunities, and I said, when I write, I'm going to make sure that Black people and Black women and Black young girls have roles that they get to be a part of, that they're readily available for them. And it's easy. And in the same way that I saw each audition asking for a white person, that there would be auditions asking for Black people. And they would be auditions of quality and roles of quality, things that we've never even seen people play out. And that was a while ago. We in 2026, and we still are seeing the same stereotypes play out and the same things play out that we've seen back in the 90s. If you're a 90s kid, even an 80s kid, but specifically 90s kids, I feel like when we were younger, it was almost like we felt like the world, or at least I did, and I think you might be able to relate, where it was like I thought that the world would be so futuristic, and that the world would evolve rapidly into where I had dreamed it would be. And now that I'm standing in this time where things are actually seeming like they're going backwards, it it is a shock. It's a shock to the system, because you recognize that either one, there are not enough of us who are actually being obedient and following what God has called us to do, which I think is a real thing, which is why sometimes we're seeing some things go backwards. And two, maybe maybe I was just being overzealous. Maybe I thought more, and I think that we all have. I thought more of the world than what was actually the truth. And it doesn't matter now, because now we're here. But I never forgot. I never forgot that moment for me. And even now, it is something that I have held on to in these moments of darkness that have discouraged me from even believing that I should continue to pursue a career in the media industry and in the entertainment industry. And that's something that's been on my heart for a while, because I feel like, you guys, I feel like over the past 10 years of my life, I've seen so much take place, and I've seen so many traumatic things happen in my life. You know, I've lost so many people in my family. I lost my brother, I lost my grandmother, I lost my uncle, I lost my dog. I lost the family that I grew up with my entire life in my home. And thank God I still have my mother with me. But when you lose people like that and you lose them rapidly and you lose them back to back to back in ways that are very sudden and for me very tragic, it definitely changed the way that I saw myself to the point where I genuinely it's to the point where I genuinely have considered quitting everything. Just quitting my whole life, to be honest. And it's taken me years to get to this point. And I want to talk about what is really in my mind, which is when I started, when I came up with, when I decided that I was going to write my first screenplay, that I was going to commit to it, that it was going to be something that I did not stray away from, that I did not talk myself out of, that I did not over criticize or put a spirit of doubt onto. When I decided that I was going to do that, I ended up with 23 pages of my first screenplay. I am 23 pages in of my very first screenplay. And I'm not talking about 23 pages of scrambled apple. I'm talking about an actual linear, consistent 23 pages. And if you're a writer, then you know what I'm talking about. Because we got a tendency to write over here and over there and over there and over there. And then we were like, now, how am I going to put all of this together? Before you know it, we toss the whole thing. So to give you guys a little backstory, I've been writing since I was a little girl. And I've written many things. And I've written shorts and I've written plays and I journal to the point of no return. I have so many journals and I've started a lot of things and I've started a lot of scripts and I've started a lot of short films and I've written short films. But there's a lot of writing that I never actually completed. And it's one thing to start something, and it's another thing to say, I am going to see this one all the way through. This time, I'm not going to let anything get in the way of my creativity and my goal. And this is my journey. Okay? Over the years, I would start writing things and then I would stop because I would get to the point in my mind where I felt like I didn't know what I was talking about. I didn't know how to tie the story together. I didn't know how to fill in the details. I didn't know how to complete a plot. And it really wasn't lack of imagination. It was because I would come to the table, whether it was my notebook or as my computer, because I tend to write both ways, whichever I might be feeling at the time. But for years and for so long, when I would show up to write, I would feel terrified. I would be so scared I would feel my heart beating out of my chest every single word that came out. And maybe there would be like a free flow where I would feel it and I would feel like that initial onset of excitement that you get when you have an amazing idea and then you begin to write and then all of a sudden you stop. And then there's that traction. There's that brainstorm that turns into hesitation, that turns into disappearance. And before you know it, you've never finished that thing that you began. That body of work that was so amazing, that could have been incredible, but you just never finished it. Baby, I know that story from 1, 2, 3 to 4 to 5, 6. Okay. Baby, I know that so well. I know it because I would come to the table and I couldn't do it because I was so terrified that I wasn't good enough. And I want you to hear those words because this doesn't just have to apply to writing, it can apply to anything. Sometimes we generalize it by saying that we don't think that we're good enough, but that's not exactly the words we often say in our minds. Sometimes we just say, I can't do it. I don't have it. I can't come up with anything. And we stop there and we never return. And in that moment, maybe that was true. Maybe you really were stumped. But in reality, what is the reason why you never show back up? And so I know for me that for me, I already, for me, the anxiety that I would experience when I would show up to the page is what was stopping me from coming back to the page. The anxiety that I would experience when I showed up to the page is what would stop me from coming back to the page. And it was until I took a look at what was freaking me out, what was making me so fearful, I was not able to move forward. But I am not there anymore. And I know exactly what it is that was really causing me to be afraid. And it was the fear that was holding me back. And it was a fear of a lot of different things, to be honest. But it was fear. Fear of whether or not people was going to like it. But the biggest thing was this idea that I somehow had control over the creativity that was inside of me. I felt like I had to control how it came out of me instead of letting it be what it is. And that's what it means to let your light shine amongst men. You have to just allow it to be free, for it to just come out of you. Because once you realize that everything inside of you comes from an ethereal place, that every idea, every creative endeavor that you pursue is coming from God. Once you realize that, you no longer have to live in your head and live in doubt and fear about where you're going. And that's how I feel about this screenplay. That's why I know that the reason I'm 23 pages in is because I've relinquished control over what I feel like this has to be. And I'm just going to believe in myself no matter what and know that it's just going to be good. And I am coming on here to share my journey with you guys, to share my process with you guys, because I know it's a lot of people out there who write, who love movies, who are just simply interested in getting to a place where they are freeing themselves and allowing themselves to finally pursue their dreams and pursue the things that's always been on their heart. And this is what this represents for me. This isn't just about me writing my first screenplay. My first, how many pages? 90 pages and up, perhaps. We'll get there, but I'm starting at the minimum of 90 pages. This is so much bigger than a screenplay. This is so much bigger than me writing my first full-length feature film screenplay. It is so much bigger than that. This is about me showing up for myself in a way that I have always desired to, but never felt like I had the confidence to. This is about looking at every lie and saying, I'm not falling for you no more. I'm not listening to you anymore. I believe in me. This is about recognizing that the creativity and the light that lives within me, it does not have to be manipulated. It does not have to be controlled. It does not have to be harassed and sculpted into whatever way I want other people to try to perceive it. No, it doesn't have to be any of those things. It can just simply be. Do you know who said that? Do you know who said that? I feel like y'all know who said that. That quote right there. All we just have to do is be. I forget her name right now, but we just gonna take that part out because she the female. She was running up for vice president. Oh, Kamala Harris. That's who said it. Kamala Harris. If y'all seen that interview, that's what she said. But this is what this is about. This is what this is about. So I am going to be sharing my process, and I'm going to complete this. So I'm 23 pages in right now. And in order to complete a full feature length screenplay, you either have to have an hour and 25 minutes to 30 minutes. So I'm going to be doing 90 pages. That would be an hour and 30 minutes. And it may be more, but right now, that is the basis of where I'm going to begin. And I'm at 23 pages, and I have, let me do this math in front of y'all. I have 67 pages to go. I have 67 pages to go. And it really didn't take me that long to complete the 23 pages. I'm so flabbergasted that I'm already so far. But this next leg of the journey is going to be more serious because now I'm at this part of my screenplay where I have to really flesh out the plot and flesh out the depthness of my characters. And if you guys are interested in being a part of that journey, I would love for you guys to go ahead and subscribe so I can bring you guys along with this incredible journey that I'm about to embark on, where I just set a goal for myself and I don't quit and I make sure that I complete this because I'm ready to make this movie. It's an amazing idea that I have for this script. And of course, right now, I am not going to share it just yet, but I do want to share the process of showing up to my, showing up to write every single day. So I set a goal for myself that I want to show up to write at 10 a.m. every single day, and that I want to write 3 pages a day. And if I do that consistently, I should be able to meet my deadline within 3 weeks or so. So I just cannot express how excited I am for myself, because this is this is a very defining moment for me, because I am choosing me again after years and years of living in the dark and wondering whether or not I have anything to offer. And it's crazy to say that out loud, because when you're you, it's just like, of course you have something to offer. Everybody has something to offer. Yeah, but when you're in a place in your life where you lost everything, you feel like your creativity can't bring you out of that. And that's how I felt. I felt like everything, I felt like when my brother passed away, I felt like my journey throughout growing up in Chicago, growing up in the hood. Child, I grew up during a time where Chief Keef, That's the Shit I Don't Like, was a number one hit throughout the entire world. But I actually grew up in Chicago while it was happening. That was a time to be alive. But also, it was a very visceral experience for just being a kid who really didn't come from nothing, and building yourself up from that place, and coming out of a place where the world is telling you that you don't matter. You're nine times out of 10, you're not going to make it past 15, 16 years old, 20, 25 years old. And that sounds cliche, but that literally is the reality of inner city children. And that has been my reality. There's so many children and kids that I grew up with in elementary school who are not alive today. And when you are still here, it's almost like you don't really recognize how much you have survived and how much you actually made it through. And so when I went through all of this, and I'm still currently digging myself out of this place where I am truly believing that I can do it. So this is my moment. This is my moment of belief where I'm saying I can do this. I know I can be this movie maker. I know that I can write amazing scripts. I believe it. I'm no longer leaving room for the doubt and the lies. I'm no longer allowing the world to curate my own personal experience for me. I'm going to create it for myself. And I'm no longer going to look at my past and say, this is where I come from. This is who I've been. And this is who I'll always be, I guess, because I ain't been able to do anything else. Well, no, I refuse to believe that. And I don't believe that anymore, because you know what? That is a lie. And you have to be able to separate the lies from the truth. And baby, we're living in the truth over here. So if you want to come over here and you want to live in the truth, and you want to be reminded that you are exactly who you're supposed to be, that you don't need to change for nobody, and that the gifts inside of you are going to make room for you, then go ahead and subscribe to my channel, because I'm going to be out here encouraging every single video that I drop. Because not only am I encouraging myself, but I hope that I can encourage you all the same. Because my story might be the girl from Chicago who grew up in poverty and lost the most important people to her. That might be my story, but what's yours? I'm going to come on here and I'm going to own my story. But what is your story? And you've got to learn to own yours. You have to learn to own your story, because that is what's going to help you get to a place where you can believe in the things that are always living inside of you, that you've always wanted to pursue, that you've been talking yourself out of. And this is my baby right here. Me writing my first screenplay, this is my baby right here. So yes, I am going to take you guys on this journey. So please go ahead and like, subscribe, and comment if you want to know more about my experience as I write my first screenplay, what that's going to be like, and maybe even more on the process of what it takes to even make a screenplay. I've never done that before, but I'm willing to share. And I'm so excited to invite you guys on the journey of just me, just my whole life, really. Um, and me getting back to me. So thank you guys for watching. And yeah, welcome to Court Unscripted. I'm going to see y'all later. Bye.